so I've been doing some groups for women, for
yeah.
women over 65, and they've been around pelvic floor and continence. They've been absolutely fantastic in that the women have been wonderful, really wonderful. And I think it's what's been really terrific is that whole notion of group work. We know group work is wonderful. We've run groups for years, but the research now is out there that group work around pelvic floor and continence health is absolutely successful. And so I guess that's great that WEN is really promoting this. So the over 65 groups that I run for women have been just awesome in that women are, it feels like they're finally able to talk. And
in
so
a safe spot.
Absolutely, and that's the whole point of being in a lovely group where women think, oh, I'm not alone, that there are many women out here, and as soon as you start talking, the nodding starts. And then, of course, people's stories start, and that's the loveliest thing. And it feels to me, as one woman said, there's been such a cone of silence about women's issues and about continence and pelvic floor as well.
Well, actually, when you think about it, there's not much other than when you've had your kids that you're asked if everything's okay and everything's fine, and then not until now, until you guys are offering that. It's brilliant.
Well, that's right. There's a whole
lifetime.
Quite a lifetime in between when anything can happen with the pelvic floor, and it does. So thank goodness that there are people out there who you're able to go to for pelvic floor issues. But out it all comes, and it's really interesting. It's not just continence, which is a huge one, but it's also other pelvic floor issues and prolapses, and you have people who are going, and you can hear the intake of breath as we start talking about people who have prolapses, and some who are saying, oh, I didn't know what it was, and others saying, well, I've
well, I just know within our group when we go out to lunch, a few people have got prolapses. I mean, they're not going to sit down next to someone on a train and say, I've got a prolapse, but having that just our group, and we've been together for so long that they're comfortable enough to talk about a prolapse. So that's where I think those groups would be just so beneficial. And as you say, when you get the nods, you sort of know that they're comfortable with what you're talking about.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so what we talk about as far as continence is concerned is we talk about the types of continence. There's many types of continence, but the ones that mostly affect women over 65, or many women or many people, is stress incontinence and urge incontinence. And stress incontinence, of course, is the one where you might sneeze or you might laugh in a group, but it might also be that you might just stand up and you might lose some urine. Or you might try and step up a stair, or go for a walk and there's a stone there, and try and step over a stone and you lose some urine as well. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be even just a tiny. It doesn't happen because the bladder's full. It happens because there's a little bit of incompetence
in the muscles.
Yes, exactly. And it's a shock for some people. And I guess the whole point with continence issues is to get help early, rather than leave it till too late, and you think, well, it's never too late, but leave it till later.
Well, I was just thinking as you're talking about that, if you have a look, and I've had cause at times to have a look on that section, in the supermarket, the array of continence pads and stuff. I mean, I don't know, perhaps because I wasn't in the age group that I looked in that section, but it's immense, and working out whether you want half a drop, 2 drops, 5 drops,
long,
or
short,
a bucket.
Whatever you need.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's why it's good for women to talk about it.
Yeah, that's
because
what I'm
then
saying.
They can say
it's normalised. It makes it comfortable to talk about.
It certainly does. And also, then you might be able to say to someone, "Well, have you been to see someone about it?" And you can even ring the Continence Foundation hotline, and they're fantastic for giving you information. Because for some people this is new. This is like, I've never wet my pants in my life. Why am I suddenly starting now? There's your GP. If you've got a really good GP who can help you, then that's fantastic. There's also continence physiotherapists or pelvic floor physiotherapists who are wonderful too. So there's people out there, and that's so important.
But it's just being directed, or to know who to be directed towards.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And thinking about other continence like urge incontinence, there's some people that think, well, that happens because I forget to go to the toilet and my bladder's full. But once again, that's not because your bladder's full. And for some people, it can be just urgency, like you suddenly start feeling, oh, I've got to go and I've got to go now. You might not lose any urine, but that's the time to do something about it.
Okay.
That's for sure. but for others, they just don't get there in time. And while pads, certainly, for a lot of women do use pads, but there's so much else that can be used as well.
Can be done beforehand or as well.
It can be done beforehand, and there's exercises, and there's pelvic floor exercises are fantastic. I mean, that's the one exercise that we can all do that's going to help us not just with confidence, with our confidence, but also with continence, but also for prolapse too, for any pelvic floor issues. Yeah, there's a huge percentage of people who will not exercise, and I think it's around 45% of women who will not exercise, and I suggest in our age group it's higher because they have got continence issues.
Okay.
And you know, it's also a massive reason why people are in aged care, residential aged care.
Is that right?
And yes, so there's a lot of stats that would absolutely shock all of us when we start reading about continence and how common it is and how debilitating it can be for so many people unless they start to get some help. And the other thing is that here we go again saying, well, it's normal because I'm old. No, if you lose urine unexpectedly and unintentionally, then that's a continence issue.
So I live over the road from one of the places that you went to do the group, and I'm sure that now that those women who had a great raucous time there and learned heaps, now when they see someone, they might just make some comment about what they learned.
Yes.
And so that's sort of spreading the word.
Well, it was an interesting thing because within a particular group that came up, and in the discussions afterwards over a cup of coffee was do you think girls, this was within the group, that we are all now able to go to each other to talk to each other about this, because one woman said, I've never been able to talk to anyone about it, and now I feel that there's 27 other women who I'm able to talk to now, and it was
I think it's brilliant.
Absolute general consensus, you can talk to us, and that was wow. You know, that's the power of the group.